All right. It's time for the finale of the conference championship. These are, in my opinion, the 9 best conferences in college basketball. Maybe you throw the West Coast in there. Maybe you throw the Missouri Valley in there. But I think when it really comes down to it, these 9 conferences are the best 9. And all of them are multi-bid leagues. They will all get more than one team. And most of them have some bubble controversy, too. Teams that are on the bubble that are going to need to win if they want to get in the tournament. Or hope another team loses, and it's just going to be chaos. So, 9 brackets. Let's get the first one out of the way, the Mountain West. Now, let's start with the opening round, and then we can talk about some teams. Nevada and New Mexico. Nevada used to be the elite dog in this conference. Not really anymore, but they should still be able to beat New Mexico. And then, who do we got here? Utah State and Air Force. Utah State generally has a pretty good team. We can take them. And then Fresno and San Jose State. I'll take Fresno. Now, of these 4 teams, Colorado State, Boise State, Wyoming, and San Diego State, the top 4 seeds, I think that all 4 of them are safely in as of now. And I think Boise State and Colorado State, they're in no matter what happens. They're 100% in the tournament. San Diego State, I'd say they're about 90+% chance to make the tournament. Wyoming, they're on the bubble. Here's what I think, though. They're 24-7. If they win against UNLV, they should be all right. And Wyoming will make the tournament if they beat UNLV. And I think they'll get it done. They're a great team. Wyoming, all around, they're good. The 4 of these teams are all very tightly talented. There's none that are way better than the other. So, but I think Wyoming would definitely be able to take care of UNLV. Boise State and Nevada. Boise State won the regular season kind of out of nowhere. They weren't ranked at all. They kind of just beat up on everyone. I mean, and no one really batted an eye twice at them. So good for Boise State. They're a big sleeper, as in nobody. And I mean nobody. Let's talk about Boise State. They're a great team. Colorado State, who people are calling the favorite to win this conference, they're 24-4 on the year. That's pretty damn good. They should have no problems with Utah State. So give me Colorado State. And then San Diego State and Fresno State, San Diego State. Now these are obviously the 4 best teams, and I think they will all end up making the tournament. And all 4, I think, have the ability to win at least one tournament game in the NCAA tournament. If not one, then maybe 2 tournament games. But who do we got here? I'm going to take Wyoming because I feel like they're going to be playing with the most purpose. Because they, I think, have the most to play for, just since they're not, I guess, 100% in the tournament yet. And then Colorado State is the best team in this conference, if you ask me. Now, both these teams played each other twice in the regular season. Wyoming won at their place in overtime and rushed the court. And Colorado won by about 10 at their place and rushed the court. At a neutral site, you know what? I'm going to take Wyoming. I feel like they're going to play with some passion and take home a tournament win. I love what I've seen out of Wyoming. Good defensive team. They do not allow very many points. So, Cowboys have my pick there. Let's go to the next conference. I forgot what the next conference is. So, the American. Let's see what we got here. First matchup is East Carolina and Cincinnati. Both these teams aren't very good. Neither one will make the tournament. I'll go with ECU. I know they took down Memphis earlier in the year on a big upset, so East Carolina, I have taken the win there. Tulsa and Wichita State. I'm gonna take Tulsa just won. Tulsa just won on like a half-court buzzer beater. It was amazing, but I think Wichita State will ultimately end up winning. And then South Florida and UCF. South Florida isn't very good. UCF, I had them in the tournament for a little bit. They're a solid team, but they really fell off. But still going to take them. All right, what do we got now? Houston and ECU. Houston by far the favorite. I'm going to take them. What do we got now? Tulane and Temple. I really don't know anything about either one of these teams. I guess I'll take Tulane. Wichita State, SMU to SMU. Now here, I'll talk more about this when we get there. I'll take SMU. And then Memphis and UCF. I definitely feel like Memphis would win. All right. Now, before we get to Memphis and SMU, definitely think Houston would beat Tulane. Houston's by far the best team in this conference. Now, Memphis and SMU are both sitting on the bubble right now. It's unsure if either one of these teams is going to get into the tournament or not. And I think it probably comes down to this game. This could be essentially a win and in type game. If you win this game, the winner of this game probably go into the tournament. The loser, probably not. Similar with Indiana and Michigan, which the Big Ten is last in this video. So the Big Ten will be coming up at the end. I think whoever wins this goes to the tournament. And to be honest, I think Memphis is the better team. I saw them play Houston, and they mopped the floor of them. They swept Houston in the regular season. They looked like a better team, so I'm going to take Memphis. But to win the conference, I think Houston will win. Even though Memphis beat them twice, Houston's going to eventually figure them out. Houston's the best team in this conference, so I got to take Houston to win. But I think Memphis will beat SMU. And that's the big game here to make the tournament, Memphis and SMU. All right, next we have the SEC, Southeastern Conference. What do we have here? 14 teams. Let's start with Missouri and Ole Miss. Let's see. A lot of these 12, 13 games, it's like, why are you here? Like, can we just make the tournament the top teams? I'll take Mizzou. All right, next we've got Georgia and Vandy. Georgia's, they're bad. They're just bad. They're just not a good team. Sorry, dogs. I mean, you just won the national championship in football, so stick to that, I guess. Now, here's my thing about Florida. How are they projected to make the tournament and Texas A&M and South Carolina aren't? And I get it. It's because they have a better record and good wins and blah-de-blah-de-blah. But they're better in their own conference. Like, I know Indiana's got, like, basically the same resume as Florida, but all the teams ahead of Indiana in their conference are projected to make the tournament. Like, Texas A&M and South Carolina are projected to make the tournament. They're ahead of you, so. Both these teams would desperately need to win. Texas A&M's kind of on the bubble. I think if Texas A&M beats Florida and Auburn, maybe they could make the tournament. They'd have a case at least, but I don't see that. I think they could beat Florida. We'll talk about if they can get past Auburn here in a second, but I think A&M, they're kind of on the bubble. They will definitely have a chance to make the tournament. They're not out of the conversation just yet. They're hanging around there. Mississippi State and South Carolina, don't really know much. I'll take Mississippi State. They have Michigan State transfer Rocket Watts. I don't know how he's been doing. I haven't heard much about him, so I'm assuming not very good. But you know what? Rocket Watts is a talented player, and even though I hate it when players transfer, I'll I'll go for my former former Spartan dog in the SEC. Give me Mississippi State. All right, next we've got LSU and Missouri. I am going to be taking LSU. Definitely the better team. Great defense all around from LSU. They ended the season on a high note. They had some struggles throughout the season. They ended the season on a pretty good stretch. And then we've got Alabama or Vandy. Actually, I'm going to take Vandy. Because there's always that one team in every conference, I feel like. Where it's like, they're not supposed to make noise, but they end up making noise. And plus, Vandy has to win the conference to make the tournament. They're not making the tournament unless they win the SEC. So, they're going to be playing inspired and against an Alabama team who has been inconsistent at best. And sometimes they're either beating up on top 5 teams or losing to bottom dwellers. So, you don't know which Alabama you'll get. I'm going to take Vandy with some inspired play. Now, if A&M beats Auburn, they would have wins over Florida and Auburn back-to-back days. And I think you could make an argument then for them being in the tournament. However, I don't see it happening. Auburn is by far and away the best team in the SEC, in my opinion. Maybe not far and away, but they are the best team in the SEC. They won the regular season. They're the 1 seed. Give me the Tigers. And I'm also going to take LSU. Because LSU just lost to Arkansas. Believe me, I love Arkansas. If you see the bracketologies, you know how much I love Arkansas. But LSU just lost to them by 1 at home. Or 1 on the road. In a tournament environment, that's a coin flip, honestly. 2 great teams, LSU and Arkansas. I think LSU gets the upper hand in that one. Tennessee and Mississippi State. I'm definitely going to be taking Tennessee. Chandler, Vescovi, the other freshman that's good. I mean, definitely taking Tennessee. I'm not going to ride with the Vandy train anymore. Sorry, Vandy. Your run comes to an end at the hand of the mild or as my dad, who went to Louisville across Kentucky, the mild kitties. The mild kitties. All right, Auburn, LSU, Tennessee, Kentucky. Definitely taking Auburn. And I'm also going to see, both these teams played each other at home and on the road. Tennessee blew them out at home. Kentucky blew them out at home. No home court here. I'm going to pick Kentucky. I think they're the better team. Both great teams, but I'm going to take Kentucky. And to win the SEC, Kentucky played a great game at Auburn without, what's his name? The Ty Washington. And they almost beat Auburn on the road. At a neutral site with all their players, I'm picking Kentucky to win the SEC. So that's the SEC for you. Let's get rid of them because we have to go to a new conference. It's the Big East. Interesting conference here. A lot of mediocre teams and a few teams that are really spectacular and have played really well. Xavier and Butler. I will be taking Xavier. But here's the thing about Xavier. They need to win. That game right there is must win for Xavier. Because they have been losing a ton of games. And they're on the bubble now. If they lose that game, they're done. So Xavier in dire need of a win there. I think they get it. Butler's not that great. St. John's, DePaul, don't really care. We'll take St. John's. Now, if Xavier gets that win, are they firmly in the tournament? I'd say probably. They're not a very good team, Xavier. I mean, they're just not. But if they get that win, they'll make the tournament. See, Noah, Georgetown. If I'm not mistaken, Georgetown went winless in conference play. They're like 6-30. It's bad. It's bad for Georgetown. I mean, it's really, really bad. They are having some stuff. They made the tournament last year. They were the 9 seed and they won this conference. That'd be the equivalent of Butler winning this year. So that's gonna happen. I'm going to take Providence just because they're the 1 seed. They will be well rested. People hate on Providence often, and like their underlying metrics aren't good. It's like, well, they're 24-4 for a reason. They're a great team. Creighton and Marquette, toss up here, really. I mean, this is pretty much a toss up game. I'll take Marquette. I don't really know who to pick here. I'll take the Golden Eagles. All right. Next, we've got Villanova, St. John's. I'll definitely be taking Villanova. I'm betting against a Jay Wright coached team. And then UConn and Seton Hall. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know about this one, Chief. Hall. That's a coin flip for me. Seton Hall. All right, Providence and Marquette. Ooh, didn't Marquette stomp Providence by like 40 points at some point? A lot of these teams, I feel like, are very evenly matched. Like I know you see the conference standings, but of Providence, Villanova, UConn, Seton Hall, Marquette, and Creighton, of those 6, of the top 6 teams that I just mentioned, rank them 1 to 6. See, like, you don't know what order to put any of them. I will say this, though. Of those teams, I'd put Villanova 1. And I think Villanova is the best team in this conference. Don't get me wrong, I like Providence. I think Providence is great. I just think Villanova's better, and there are teams that could beat Providence. It's just their underlying metrics aren't great. They have, like, one of the best luck ratings. I don't know how that works, but their luck ratings are... I mean, people just are hating on Providence, and, I mean, they're a great team, but I think Villanova's going to take this one. All right, what next? Big 12. Let's see what we have here. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Oklahoma State is banned from tournament play. I think they are. Yeah, they are, because there's 10 teams in the Big 12, and there's only 9 in this bracket. So yeah, no Oklahoma State. They're banned. They did some naughty, no good recruiting when it came to Cade Cunningham. So, first game between Kansas State and West Virginia. I'll take K-State. K-State, definitely, I think, the better team. I've watched some West Virginia games. Not really impressed. I mean, they beat UConn earlier in the year, and that's about all that they've done. So I'm going to take K-State. Texas and TCU. Coin flip, honestly. I don't really know who I'd go with here. I'm going to take Texas, though. I think they're the better team. TCU could win, though. Where's this tournament being held? I think it's in Dallas. Kansas and Kansas State. I thought Baylor was the 1 seed. I must have been. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they were both co-champions of the Big 12. Speaking of Baylor, they will have no problems. They will have no problems with Oklahoma. And then Iowa State or Texas Tech. I'm on the Iowa State hate train. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They're not a good team. if you see Iowa State in your bracket, which you will because they'll make the tournament, pick against them. I'm telling you. Pick against Iowa State. They're like 7-12 in conference. They have the same conference record as Oklahoma, K-State, and West Virginia, who everyone says is bad. But Iowa State's not bad. I think Kansas and Baylor will definitely meet in the conference title game. Because I think they're definitely the two best. Texas Tech will put up a fight. They beat Baylor twice. I don't think it's going to be 3. And then to win it, the team that I think is better, well-rounded, and they did it last year, they've got the experience for the players that are left, is Baylor. I think Baylor wins the Big 12. Pac-12 is next. Hold on. We'll be back after a word from our sponsors. All right. Where do we want to go here? Arizona State, Stanford. I'm definitely going to take Arizona State. I think they're the better team. What do we got now? Oregon State. Oregon State is, I think, 3-25. Them and Georgetown are the exact same team. They were terrible last year, yet they ran their conference and won their conference and stole a bid from two teams that deserved a spot. Except Oregon State ran it all the way to the Elite Eight for some reason. I don't know how they did that. And then they both are terrible this year. Washington State or Cal? Cal. Why not? And Washington or Utah? Utah is terrible at basketball. Since Kyle Kuzma left, they're not doing too hot. All right. I'm going to make a pick right now that is going to make people mad. I'm going to take Arizona State to beat Arizona. Now, I get it. Arizona's ranked in the top 5 and blah-de-blah-de-blah, and Arizona's so good and Arizona State sucks. Well, Arizona State has showed some flashes of being a good team. They beat Oregon, and they beat Oregon twice, I think. And they beat UCLA. They have looked like a good team at times. And they obviously need to win the conference to make the tournament. In a desperation game against their biggest rival, when they needed to make the tournament, they'll be coming off momentum off of a win should they beat Stanford. I like the chances I'd get in that game. Arizona State. And then I'm going to take Oregon over Colorado. Another team that needs to get their act together. They're, 18-13? They're currently, I think, in my next 4 out. So they're going to need to probably win a couple games to win the tournament, to make the tournament. I don't think they need to completely win the conference, but they're going to need to win at least a couple games. I will take UCLA. I'm telling you, anything could happen this week. So if I make a crazy pick, it's because the possibility is always there. And I'll take USC. I'm telling you, there's always that random team that's kind of mediocre in conference, or like a 7 or 8 seed in their conference tournament, and boom, they rattle off 5 wins in a row. They win their conference. Ooh, you know what? We're rocking with it. Sun Devils to the championship. And then I'll take UCLA. Even matchup. Those teams both went 1-1 against each other. Now, if Arizona State wins, this would be a nightmare for teams on the bubble. Here's the thing. I think if Oregon makes the conference title game, if Oregon wins that second game, they could sneak in the tournament. I feel like that second team would have to be Arizona, though. Like, if Arizona wins this game and Oregon beats Arizona, you might be looking at Oregon as a play-in. But I've got this funky feeling about Arizona State. Now, it'd be a nightmare for teams in the bubble if they won, stealing a spot. That'd probably knock either IU or Florida out. But I don't think they're beating UCLA again. They needed triple overtime to beat UCLA at home. I don't think they're getting it done at a neutral site. Yeah, I'm going to say UCLA comes to the rescue for all the bubble teams. So, give me UCLA. All right, next up we have the ACC. Usually one of the best conferences, but they are kind of having a down year this year. So we'll see what they have to offer. Pitt and Boston College, not a clue in the world. We'll take Boston College. People have been like making fun of Pitt for being bad. Well, because they're Pitt and they're bad. So Boston College. Clemson or NC State. Clemson as my pick. Right. Louisville, Georgia Tech. I'll be taking. Damn it. I'll take Louisville. They're the team that's usually really good and a tournament team that's just having a down year this year. A lot of teams, the ACC is down this year. All right, what do we got now? All right, round 2. I will be taking Florida State over Syracuse. That would put them on to face Dookie. And Mike Krzyzewski's last ACC tournament. Oh my God, it's his last. Did you guys know Mike Krzyzewski's retiring at the end of the... Didn't know. Wake will beat Boston College. Wake is another team on the bubble. They're going to have to... That would be a must-win for them. If Wake loses that game, no tournament. I think they get it done. And I'm going to take Clemson over Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech, they're kind of in the tournament conversation. If they... To make the tournament, Virginia Tech would at least have to beat either Clemson or NC State. And they'd have to beat Notre Dame, too, in my opinion. They'd have to win, I would say, 2 games. Virginia Tech would need to win. 2 games. Virginia, they're pretty much out of the conversation fully now. Louisville with the upset. I got 2 upsets down here. All right, we've got Duke, Florida State. Florida State beat them in the regular season in Tallahassee and almost beat them. Oh, damn it. And almost beat them back when they almost beat him at Cameron, but it's not going to happen. Dukies get the win. Miami or Wake. I think Wake would need this win more. Both these teams are kind of on the bubble, although I think if Miami loses, I think they'd still be all right. Miami's a great team. Wake, though, with the one guy that won ACC Player of the Year. UNC fans were mad that Baycott didn't win it. Give me Wake. Notre Dame would beat Clemson, I think, pretty easily. And then UNC and Louisville. And the UNC would take care of that. All right, to go to the ACC title game, Duke or Wake Forest. Now, Wake took them to the last second at home. I'm not going to try to act like Wake Forest is losing this game. Duke. And I think UNC is a million times better than Notre Dame. UNC is better than Notre Dame. Now, we got a rematch of when these teams played at Krzyzewski's last game. Now, people were talking about all the pressure that was on Coach K's last game and all like the pressure the Duke players had. Now, UNC was just walking around, all fun and games, and beating them. I think if this happens again, I don't think Duke's losing that twice. I think you're going to play a pissed-off Mike Krzyzewski team. And that's not really a recipe for success. So I think if Duke makes it back, especially if they're playing UNC, I think they'll take care of business. The A10 now. Should be a fun conference. Let's see who we have here. Let's start with the meaningless. The meaningless games. LaSalle, who just took out Dayton in a devastating loss for the Flyers. Now, Dayton can still make the tournament. They definitely can still make the tournament, but that loss definitely hurt. That loss hurt a lot. I don't know. The long point, I'm taking LaSalle. Rhode Island and Duquesne. I'm going to take Rhode Island. Fordham and George Mason. I know not a damn thing. George Mason did beat Maryland. Back when everyone thought Maryland was good, which they're not, but I'll take George Mason. LaSalle and St. Louis. St. Louis for the win. George Washington and UMass. I'll take UMass. Rhode Island and Richmond. Screw it. Richmond. Or Rhode Island. Rhode Island will win. All right. Davidson. Now, I think Davidson is safely in the tournament, no matter what they do here. I think they're... Actually, about Dayton... Dayton rebounded to that LaSalle loss with a win against Davidson. So I think those canceled each other out. That horrible, horrifying loss with a really great win. Davidson, I think, is going to get in no matter what. So this is probably the biggest bracket when it comes to your bubble teams. Because Dayton, VCU, St. Bonaventure, St. Louis... They all have the ability to win this tournament and steal a bid. Now, if Davidson were to win, in all likelihood, that would knock out Dayton, VCU, and St. Bonaventure. Here, let's keep going. I'm going to take St. Louis over Bonaventure just because Bonaventure's been a colossal disappointment this year. I had them in the Final Four preseason. Let that sink in. All right, let's talk about this a little bit. I'll take Dayton over UMass. And I'm going to take VCU over Rhode Island. Now, this game's going to be really important, but I think Davidson would win. Now, there's a possibility that the winner of this Dayton and VCU game would get into the tournament and the loser would not. Because it would obviously depend on what happens around them, but both these teams are right in that bubble talk. And a nice win over another team on the bubble, each other, would really help them out. So there's a possibility that whoever wins this game gets into the tournament and the loser does not. And the team I think is better is VCU. And I'm going to put them one step further and call them A10 champs. I think VCU is the best of the teams with the most motivation to play because they need those wins. Them and Dayton need those wins to make the NCAA tournament. So I think VCU goes one step further, wins it all, secures their spot, and steals a bid from someone. Rams to the tournament. All right, and I think we've only got one more. Yep. Big Ten. This is the bracket I'm going to post on my Indiana Insider page. I figured we could use it here. All right, let's start. Northwestern and Minnesota tomorrow. I'm going to take Minnesota. Neither one of these teams are very good. Next, we have Nebraska ball or Penn State. This is an easy pick for me. Nebraska ball, baby. They are taking names. Just beat Wisconsin. Just beat Ohio State. Easily. Nebraska ball for the win. Now, probably the biggest bubble game you can get. If you look in most brackets, Indiana is in that first four out. They're not just first four out. They're like the first team out of the tournament. And in a lot of places you're looking, Michigan is that last team in the tournament. They're right there in the tournament, out of the tournament. It's going to come down, in my opinion. People might have different opinions. Some people think IU needs to win 2 games to get into the tournament. Here's what I'm saying. The winner of this game is getting in the tournament. The loser is not. I think it's that simple. The winner is dancing. The loser is not. I can't pick against IU, man. I'm going to IU in the fall if I haven't said it enough, if you didn't know. IU fan. I can't even watch this game because I'll be at school. I'm going to be a nervous wreck if I did even watch it. I got to go with the Hoosiers. I got to, man. That's going to be such an important game. That's a must win for both teams. Iowa would beat Minnesota. Wampanoag, Minnesota. Michigan State over Maryland. And you heard me. No, you heard me. Nebraska ball with another tournament win. Give it to me. Give me Nebraska. They're hot right now. You know who's sucked lately? Ohio State. They've looked terrible as of late. Nebraska is taking names, baby. They are taking names. All right. I think Illinois would beat Indiana. Now, people are saying Indiana or Michigan. Mostly, maybe not Michigan, but for Indiana, they're saying Indiana has to win 2 games, so they have to beat Illinois too. I don't think Indiana needs to win this game. But if Indiana wins 2 games, if they beat Illinois, count them in. They're going to the tournament. But I don't think they need to win both. They just need to win 1. I'm definitely taking Iowa over Rutgers. Easily. I think Iowa's by far and away the better team. I mean, they looked great for the start against Illinois. Kind of caved in the end against Illinois, but it's all right. I think Michigan State is beating Wisconsin because Johnny Davis is listed as day-to-day. And to be honest, he's the engine that makes that team go, if you ask me. He is the heart and soul of that team. If he's either not there or limited minutes or not 100%, I don't think they win. Michigan State for the win. Sorry, Nebraska ball. Your run's coming to an end. That'd be hilarious though if Nebraska beat Purdue. That'd actually be hilarious. I'm taking Iowa over Illinois. They looked like the better team last night, despite Illinois winning. They looked great. And plus, if they would have made their free throws, and if that game was at home, and blah, 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 all these things that went Illinois' way last night, Iowa's going to have. Like, it's going to be a neutral site. They're going to have that raucous home environment to deal with. Iowa's hot right now. Hawks. And I think Purdue would beat Michigan State. And to win the Big Ten title, ultimately, I'm going to take Purdue. I think they're the best team in the Big Ten. I think they're gonna win it. Hope you guys enjoyed, though. These are the picks. Hopefully you like them. And yeah. God, 40 minutes this video was. My God. See you next time.